Welcome guys, and welcome to another episode of Seasons with Stef. My name is Stephanie Kurt, and it's been a couple weeks that I have not been able to be live. I was sick one week, and then the following week I was traveling. So I'm excited to be back, and today we're going to talk about how nothing is coincidental. Especially in the life of a believer, God is really orchestrating everything to work out for your good, according to Romans 8, verse 28. So let's just dive into that idea, that topic. So again, because it's been about 2 weeks that I have not come on live, I had so much experiences that transpired, and it was also a very eventful 2 weeks that took place. A lot of things happened that I was not expecting to happen. Even having traveled, I wasn't expecting to have traveled, and all of this different stuff happened during these past 2 weeks. But one thing that really stands out to me is the fact that, again, nothing is random, nothing is coincidental. So as I was preparing for this live video, I thought to myself, okay, this is true. Nothing is coincidental. Nothing is just random, especially in the life of a believer. And how do I want to illustrate this or share this through a story? So I thought about just even going back all the way to the top of September. And it wasn't until I got to the end of September, I was calling my friend to wish her a happy birthday, and we just started talking about the month of September. And it was in that moment that I realized from the very beginning of the month, so many things had been happening that were just God. From the top of the month, it was just experience after experience that I could just point at and look and say, this was God. So because I guess you could say I'm a journaler, but I definitely do take note of dreams. And I definitely do take note of the different things that God is doing in my life. So after that conversation with her, I went to my journal, sat down, and I actually started writing out all the things that had been taking place in the month of September. So the very first part of the month, there was a ministry called Covered by God, and they have a fast. So that was the first 3 days of the month. That first day of the month, there was a meeting, a youth ministry meeting, and one of the brothers at my church shared his testimony, and it was so extremely powerful. I, to this day, am just touched, because one thing that I recognized through his testimony was the fact that God could have you doing something today in 2023 and you will not see the fruit of it for another 5 years. But it doesn't mean that seeds have not been planted, and it doesn't mean that good fruit is not going to come from the seeds that have been planted. And that was one of the major takeaways that I got from his testimony. So the month continues, and the 3rd happens, which is a Sunday. It's the baby shower of my friend, and it's also a concert. Nathaniel Bassey and Minister Dunson, as well as a couple other people, are in town. They're in Oshawa, rather. So I'm in Toronto, and then Oshawa is like a suburb of Toronto. So I attend this concert, and it was a beautiful, beautiful time. But I just want to share just like a quick story of something that happened throughout the month of September, because my friend tagged me in an event. So the event is happening, and it's hosted by this organization called Saved and Single. So she tags me and she lets me know, I think we should go to this event together. So I see it, and I'm not really paying attention to it. I think I saw it, and perhaps it didn't even register that she was tagging me and saying we should go to this event. But when my friend comes to pick me up for the baby shower on the 3rd, she says to me, hey, I saw that event, and I saw that Tiana, my friend, tagged you in this event. Did you think about going? I actually thought about you. And I was like, really? I didn't think about me. Like, I saw the event, but I wasn't planning on attending or anything like that. So after that happens, I go to sleep and I have a dream. So there's a couple things that I really want to highlight as I'm speaking today. Number one, it's the fact that there's nothing coincidental with God. Hey, Lamar. Number two, it's the fact that dreams are important, and we shouldn't just disregard our dreams or think that they're non-consequential, or that there's nothing that God may be trying to communicate with us through, or to us through our dreams. So I go to sleep now and I have a dream. I don't even remember at what point in September I have this dream. But in the dream, I'm with a middle school friend, someone who I don't really talk to anymore, but you know, if I saw her, I would definitely go and say hi, ask how her family's doing, all that. And in this dream, she hands me the phone, and on the phone is this guy who she wants me to talk to. So I take the phone, and this is all in the dream. I say hello, and I realize that the person I'm speaking to is actually right next to me. Like I'm in a coffee shop, and he happens to be right next to me. So we both turn now that we realize this person's like in the room with us, and I look at him, she looks at him, and she's, for whatever reason, she's not impressed by what she sees. She grabs her stuff and just like walks out. And when I woke up from the dream, number one, I had been eating in the dream. So this is an aside. If you are ever eating in your dream, when you wake up, you want to renounce any contract or agreement that the enemy is trying to make with you. Because just the same way people go to restaurants when they are signing contracts and deals, and they will have a meal, they will break bread together, it's the very same way the enemy, the devil, can come in our dreams, have us eating food, and enter into a contract with us. So I woke up from this dream and I prayed. I was just like, okay, whatever that was, whatever agreement the enemy may be trying to enact in my life, I reject it. And I believe that God is trying to tell me that I shouldn't be so quick to judge a book by its cover. So as I'm writing this down, I'm writing down this dream, writing down the meaning, all of that. The organizer of the event, Saved and Single, reaches out to me, and she just sends me the flyer. She sends me the flyer and says, hey, can you let other people know to attend? Just invite them, type of thing. And I was like, wow, this is the third person telling me about this event. Now, mind you, I'm still not convinced that I should go to this event. Even after 2 people told me to come, or I guess 3 at this point, plus a dream that I just had. So all of this takes place, and if you guys have any questions as I'm going through, you can definitely type them in the chat. So all of this takes place, and I'm still not convinced that I should go to this event because it's a Saturday. I know I'm not going to be in the city, and I'm just like, I don't even know what time it starts. I don't know where it is, all of that. So I go to the information for the page for the event, and I see that all it says is the date, but it doesn't say the time, and it doesn't say the location, which are 2 like factors that would actually make a difference for me, because I know I'm going to be out of the city until minimum 4 o'clock. So I reach out to the organizer and I ask, hey, what's the location? What's the time? She tells me it's going to be in Rexdale, and it's going to be at 6 p.m. And I think those are the 2 pieces of information that she gives me. So I go to the link now, click on it, and it's like this application form. And it's like pretty in depth. They're asking you like different questions, like what are you looking for and all of this. And I didn't fill it out actually. I just said to myself, wow, they're pretty serious about who they want at this event. And that happens. And again, I do not take the initiative to actually sign up and put through my application so that I can get to the payment page. But as I'm speaking with her, she's like, hey, if you know any single Christian guys, like let them know about this event. So I go to a co-working space, and this is like a Thursday afternoon, I believe. And as I'm sitting there, I see this guy sitting across from me, and he's working. You know, it's a working space. I should have been working too, and I was. But I noticed him, and I was just like, you know, something about him looks Christian. I feel like he's Christian. I'm gonna tell him about this event. So at the end of the night, he's about to leave before I'm about to leave. So I literally, I don't know if I waved at him or I just said, excuse me or something. And I said, hey, I have a question for you. Like, should I come over there? Would you like to come over here? And he's like, okay, like I can come. So he walks over to where I'm sitting down, and I say to him, I was just like, hey, how's it going? What's your name? He tells me his name, and he says he's doing well. And I was like, are you Christian? And he's like, yes, I am Christian. So I was just like, oh, you know, that was a good guess. So he turns out he is Christian. I was like, perfect. I didn't even know if he was single, but I was just like, I'm going to invite you to this event. Mind you, I haven't even gotten my ticket for this event. So I tell him, hey, there's this event. It's for Christians who are single, and it's like a speed dating event. And, they're looking for Christian guys to attend so that the numbers will be even, all of that. And so he grabs his phone, and he gets the information for the event. And on my way home that night, I see that the event tickets for women are sold out. So I'm just like, ooh, God, I think I waited a little bit too long. Now this event is sold out, and I actually at this point feel like God is telling me to go for whatever reason. So if that wasn't enough, I have a friend who lives in Buffalo, New York. Shout out to Jay, okay? And she sends me the flyer for this event. I don't know how she saw it. I don't know how it ended up on her Explore page, but she sends me this event on WhatsApp and the flyer. And she's like, hey, I think you should go to this event. No. She asked me, are you going to this event? And I was just like, what is going on? This is the fourth person who's asking me about this event, who's specifically bringing it to my attention and telling me that I should be at this event. So I thought that was really, really funny. And I said to myself, well, I already waited too long. All the tickets are sold out for this event. And the last thing that really happened, welcome Suave, was that, again, I went to sleep and I had another dream. And in this dream, the organizer of the event is on a bus, like a school bus. And I'm sitting outside the bus on a bench. I'm just waiting for her to tell me that I can be let onto this bus. So I'm sitting there patiently, and I have 2 bags with me. And at a certain point, she tells me, okay, you can come on the bus. So I get on the bus, and everyone on the bus was like a saint. It was like they were dressed in like angels, like they were glowing or something. And that's the end of the dream. So I get on this bus, and that's the end of the dream. So I reach out to the organizer and I say, hey, I know I waited too long and the tickets are all sold out, but is there any way that if you guys are opening up any tickets for women, let me know. And if there's going to be any additional, I don't know, just seats available, then, let me know, type of thing. Now, mind you, the reason I'm even asking about this is because at that point, I couldn't deny the fact that for whatever reason, God wanted me to be there. So she lets me know, okay, cool. If that happens, I will let you know. So I think a couple weeks passed, and now we're at the Friday before the event. It's happening on Saturday night. So I reach out to her, and I was just like, hey, did anyone cancel? Any tickets become available? She's like, no. Now, mind you, I remember this dream. And in the dream, I'm sitting there waiting for her to let me on the bus. And at the last minute, she lets me on the bus, and the bus takes off. So I know that I'm going to be at this event somehow. So I go to an event on Friday night, and I'm welcoming people at the door. And as I'm welcoming people at the door, I have a conversation with someone. And she's like, what do you do for a living? And I tell her, well, I'm an author. I do this, I do that. And she's like, oh, okay, so you don't really like meet people then, because you're always like at home and stuff. And I was just like, well, I mean, I do and I don't. And so here I am at this event, and I tell her, well, technically there's like this saved and single event that's happening tomorrow. I believe that I will be there. And while I'm talking to her, the organizer of the event messages me, and she says, hey, there might be someone who's canceling, but I will keep you updated. I'll let you know. By the time that event finishes, it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. She confirms that, in fact, nope, there's no seat. The person is still coming. So I was just like, but God, I really felt like you told me that I was going to be at this event. So Saturday morning, I get a message from the organizer. And that Friday night, I had actually sent her a message. And I was just like, listen, I'm not trying to be at this event just because I want to be at this event. I really feel like God told me that I'm going to be at this event. And I tell her about a couple of the things that had taken place leading up to this date. But again, if there's no tickets, there's no tickets. So I wake up Saturday morning, I'm getting dressed, I'm getting ready to go. And I see a message from her. And this message says, wow, I guess you really are supposed to be at this event because she just officially canceled. Okay, just officially canceled. So I was just like, okay, God, I mean, you kind of already told me. you already gave me a dream letting me know I would be let on this bus. And so I was just like, okay, cool. So I get to this event. Now, mind you, that was a feat and a half, even just getting to this event. I get to the event and I meet a couple cool people, and there was more girls than guys at this event. And me just being me, at certain points, they had it set up so beautifully. So shout outs to Kanisha, one of the main organizers for this event. They did a phenomenal, incredible job, and I actually do recommend that people attend their events in the future. So how they set it up was they had the woman sitting down, and then guys would just come and have a conversation with them for about 5 minutes until you heard the music start, and then you would go talk to somebody else. So that is how they had it set up. And again, because there's more girls than guys, at a certain point as a woman there, you would not be talking to anyone. So I got up and went over, introduced myself to other women who happened to be there. I was just like, hey, how's it going? How'd you hear about the event? And, you know, just connecting with people that way. And the event was really great. The food was amazing. The music was amazing. Entertainment, all of that. And I share all that to say, to this point in time, I can't really pinpoint and say, yes, I know for a fact this is why God wanted me to be there. However, what I will say is that I did not ignore my dreams. The second dream made it very clear that I would be let into this event, and I was. At the very last minute, like the day of, a ticket became available. I simply e-transferred her what she had paid on Eventbrite, and that was that. And I was able to attend the event. Although I skipped, or I wouldn't even say skip, I ignored all the other times where God was sending someone to be like, hey, you should consider this event. You should consider this event. I could have probably just saved myself a couple of headaches and just gotten the ticket right away. But again, nothing is coincidental with God. So that was something that happened throughout the month of September. But another thing that happened throughout the month of September, and I won't go into everything because there's just honestly so much, and we're already in November at this point, was that Rosh Hashanah took place. So if you're not familiar with what Rosh Hashanah is, it is a celebration of the Jewish New Year. And it started as, I believe, sunset on the 15th of September all the way back through the 17th. So it was a 3-day celebration, and that also took place during the month of September. And it was just a beautiful time. We are now in 5784, and it is, according to some people, the year of the open door. I haven't sat down with God and been like, what are you calling this year for me? But what I've seen is that many people are calling it the year of the open door. So on the 17th, which was a Sunday, I was invited to come and just share for a few minutes at a church regarding a topic, God's ideal woman. They gave each speaker, 6 of us, each speaker just about 10 minutes to share on a woman who you were assigned to speak on. I was assigned Esther the Queen. So if you're not familiar with her story, you can definitely just grab a Bible or go online and just type in Esther in the Bible, and it will pop up her story. Now, Esther, the book of Esther, really encourages us to be bold. It encourages us to be very mindful of the fact that there are moments in life where we would prefer somebody else take care of something, but it's actually for us to do. So she is queen at a pivotal moment in time for her people, and she finds out that their lives are all being threatened, and she's like, you know what? I don't think this assignment is for me. I think it's probably for someone else. And the response that she is given at that time is, if you don't step up and do what you need to do at this point in time, be very aware of the fact that deliverance will come for these people, your people, but you and your household will be destroyed. But perhaps you actually came into the palace for such a time as this. So she decides, she's like, you know what? You're right. I am going to seek God for 3 days and 3 nights, do the same, and I will go talk to the king after I do that. Let me just check the time real quick. Okay. So I'm gonna try and wrap up in the next few minutes. But I go and I speak on Esther, and the other woman, they speak on the woman who they're assigned to speak on. And at the end of the program, everything was really beautiful. The pastor of the church calls us and says, hey, I want to just like speak to you, all the speakers. And I was just like, oh, am I in trouble? Like, did I forget to do something? Did I not, you know? And so we get called into this room, and he actually just lets us know that God asked him to pray for us. So I was just like, oh, okay. So he prays for us, and it turns into this very powerful prophetic moment in time. And there's 6 women, like I said. 2 of them leave after the prayer, and 4 of us are still there. And God placed it on my heart to say to one of the women, we need to pray for you. So we're there, we were just prayed for. And before we go, I'm like, I think we need to pray for you. And so before we pray, I say, hey, is there anything specific that you would like us to pray about? And she shares just some things that are going on. And we're like, okay, no problem. And we start to pray. We start to pray for her. And it just turns into this beautiful moment of sisterhood, this beautiful moment of intercession, this beautiful moment of just seeking the face of God. And then we then turn to the second woman, and we just felt like God was telling us, okay, it's just time to pray. So we ended up praying for every single woman, and the other 2 who had left, they actually came back at a certain point. And we began and we just prayed for every single person. We were there for 3 hours after the event ended. And this is on the 17th, just as the year is turning from 5783 to 5784 at sunset. That is when, according to biblical delineation of dates and times, this is when the day is actually going to start. So right at sunset, as 5784 is being rung in, that's when all of this is taking place. Again, there's no such thing as coincidences with God. The 6 women who were chosen to speak, we were all supposed to have been there. The prayer that was prayed that then led to all the other prayers, because the pastor left. After he prayed for us, he left. And then we prayed for each other. And one of the things that I said to, I believe she was one of the last women that we prayed for. I said to her, I believe this is a moment where we are the spiritual midwives encouraging you to push. You're almost at the end. You are literally crowning this blessing, this baby, this prophetic, whatever it is, whatever God has promised you, this promise, that's what I'm going to call it. This promise is about to come forth right now. We are your midwives in this moment, encouraging you to push. Don't stop now because you're in pain. And this particular woman actually has children in the natural. So she knows what it's like to give birth. And she knows that it's not comfortable. Like, you just have to keep pushing until this baby is completely out. But you don't stop pushing because it's painful. No, you keep going until the baby has been brought forth into the world. And I literally said to her in that moment, we are here, the 5 of us, or I guess at that point it was 4. One person had to leave. We are now your spiritual midwives in this moment, encouraging you to push. So that's what happened on the 17th. And then the month continues. I told you guys what happened on the, I believe it was the 30th, the speed dating event that I ended up at the very, very, very last minute. But then October rolls around. Oh my goodness. When I tell you guys, there is the 2 things that I want you guys to take away. Nothing is coincidental with God, and pay attention to your dreams. God will God will speak to us through our dreams. He will show us what he wants to do in our lives. He will show us what the enemy is plotting and trying to do in our lives. And it's our responsibility to steward well over our dreams and to receive whatever God is giving to us, and to reject, renounce, and replace anything that the enemy is trying to do. Right? So because of those 2 dreams, I ended up at that event and the 4 people who came and spoke to me. But then again, in the month of October, If you had asked me at the top of October, what are your plans for the month? I would have told you the things that I expected to do. So editing on my second book, I expected to do that. Putting out YouTube videos, I expected to do that. Serving at church and in the youth ministry, I expected to do that. But I did not expect that I would end up in Atlanta. I did not expect that certain things would happen. And I'll just tell you about one event in the month of October. So on October 15th, it was, that's the week that I had been feeling sick. So that's the week I didn't come and do a live because I was not feeling well. And that Sunday, which is the 15th, a friend of mine invited me to a Zoom call. Now, it was his birthday. He was tuning in from Mombasa, Kenya, I believe, and he was going to be sharing a word that Sunday evening. And so he invites me to join, and I was just about to just wash my hair and then get ready for this call when my friend calls me. Now, this is someone who I don't speak to often or all the time, but we end up on the phone right back until the call is about to start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I never had time to wash my hair before the call. So as soon as the call is starting, I just decide, you know what, it's okay. I'm just going to pull my hair back into a ponytail. I'm not feeling that great. Let me just put some makeup on and show up for this call. It's a Zoom call, and most people have their video cameras off. But I decided I was going to have my camera on. Welcome, Jasmine. And so I get to this Zoom call, and I'm listening in. I'm just seeing the service, and I'm taking part. I'm taking my notes, as I always do. Something that my friend said this past weekend at a retreat that she was hosting. Her name is Toyin Crandall, and she said, take responsibility for everything for what you get from every room that you're in. I believe that's what she had said. And so that's exactly what I'm doing in this moment. I am here to support this person who invited me, this friend, and he's about to speak, he's about to share. So he shares, and I decide to invite my friend who I had just finished the phone call with to join. And I said to him, you know what, would you like to join this call? This Zoom call that I'm on, it's been really impactful and beautiful so far. And he says, nah, I'm good, I'll join another time. So I was like, okay. And he said, tell me about it next time. And I responded to him and I said, well, this individual is actually turning 60 today, and they're speaking. They're tuning in from Mombasa, Kenya. And I don't think that this moment is actually going to happen again. And now, mind you, I'm on the Zoom call and I'm texting him at the same time. So I didn't say all of that, but I pretty much said, I don't think this is going to happen again. But if you'd like to join, then I can send you the link. And after a while, he's like, okay, send me the link. By the time he says that, he closes off his sermon, his presentation. And I texted him back. I was just like, oh, he actually just closed. But I still sent him the link because I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do after. So what they actually did afterwards was invite people to give their takeaways and share. And so that takes place and my friend joins. And after that happens, there is the host of this call who begins to give it's called a prophetic word. So if you're not familiar with what that means, a prophetic word is essentially in a particular moment in time, it is like a download from heaven that you get and you can share with somebody based off of what God has just revealed to you. So he starts sharing a prophetic word for someone on the call. And I was one of about 4 people who had their video camera on. This was instilled in me by a mentor. Just show up fully on video. Don't be distracted. Don't be cooking dinner. Don't be doing your hair at the same time. Just be present for this call and just show up. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm probably just nodding my head as he's giving this prophetic word to this other person. And then he starts talking to me and he says, Stephanie, I see, and he tells what he sees. And one of the things that he said was, I see open doors. I see amazing doors opening for you. And I was like, wow, that's really powerful. Again, we're in 5784, the year of the open door. So I'm just like, okay, God, I receive it. And I think it was not less than maybe a couple days later that the opportunity for me to travel was presented to me. And I was just like, well, this seems like an open door. So again, those are some of the top lessons from these past, I want to say 2 months, that nothing is coincidental with God, and pay attention to your dreams. Don't just disregard them and think that there's nothing important that is being communicated to you through your dreams. It could actually be something. It could actually be, I missed you guys too, something really powerful that God is trying to communicate to you. So I don't know if there was any questions. There's so much more that I did not share, but I'm trying to be mindful of the time here. So if you guys have anything, then definitely let me know what that might be by way of comments. But thank you. Trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. So that is one of the comments here. That's from Lamar, and that's taken from Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6, a very common passage. But yes, absolutely. That is definitely something that has been highlighted to me, that we just may not understand how things are going to unfold, but if God has shown you something, if he has told you something, then just trust that it's going to take place. Don't try to figure it all out. That's what God has been showing me from the very top of this year. Isaiah 43, 18 and 19. Do not remember the former things. Don't try to understand. Don't try to consider. Don't try to wrap your head around it and get all the human, just understanding. Just literally leave it to God. He will work it out. He will sort it out. And so I hope this live encouraged you guys to just flow with God. He's going to do what he needs to do. You just have to show up. And that was one thing that I did want to say about the call. Like I said, I was one of 4 people on this call. There's over 20 people on this call, but I was one of 4 people who actually had their video camera on. And every single person who had their video camera on received a prophetic word. And it just reminded me of something that God has been speaking to me, which is, if you show up, the blessing is yours. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to destroy anybody else to get it. You don't have to manipulate any situation or any person or anything. You just show up and the blessing will be yours. So that is what I have for you guys today. I believe this is probably a longer live. But again, I was away for 2 weeks and I tried to condense 2 months of just a lot of learning and a lot's been going on, guys. A lot has been going on. Tried to condense it all into this live, but I just pray that something that you heard today blessed you, and that it will just encourage you to, just like Lamar said, trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all of your ways, acknowledge him. He will direct your path. He will give you the ticket at the last minute. He will open up the opportunity for you. He will provide you with the prophetic word. You will go to serve and to pour out, and you will be the person receiving a blessing and receiving a prophetic word. He's going to take care of it all. Don't worry. Don't worry. If he's chosen you for the assignment, he will give you everything you need to fulfill the assignment. Be blessed, guys. I look forward to seeing you. Oh, here's the thing. Life is, like I said, spontaneous, and I'm just flowing with it. I hope to be stable next week, Friday, so that I can come on and do a live. But if I won't be, then I will do my best to come on Thursday and do a live, as long as I can get about 30 minutes of time to just come on and do a live. But I will just let you guys know what that's looking like next week. But until then, God bless you and have an amazing start to your weekend. I'm going to say it one more time. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Don't lean on your own human understanding. In all of your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Take care, guys.